Okay, just doing a mic check. Perfect. Okay, good evening and welcome to tonight's stream. We are going to carry out a review and flight test of Echo Simulations Secure F8L Falco. We'll talk a little bit about the aircraft in just a minute as we get into it. However, we can just for a second look at what's included in the pack. So the cost of the item itself is around £17. It's 80 Simverse Points, and you can rent it for 20 Simverse Points at £4.50. That's what I've done on this in this situation. Is we've just rented it. So the aircraft itself, let's have a look at what you get with it. This is the aircraft. That's the first time I've seen a prop that spins in the menu here. Passenger aircraft, which can be used in career mode. It's got a landing gear, which is retractable, and has obviously the nose wheel as opposed to a tail wheel. The Lycoming AIO 360 B1E 180 horsepower engine with the two-blade alley propeller, standard instrumentation. And it is recommended. Sorry, not recommended. It has been created for acrobatics. Livery-wise, you only get a couple: Dark Eagle, 8-ball, experimental, official experimental, Lone Star, red, silver bullet, and white. There we are. And for this we'll just use the official 8-ball version. Okay, so going to do it a little bit differently today. So I've managed to basically, so this aircraft is a kit aircraft. I've managed to find the pilot operating handbook and the official flight test handbook for it as well. So we're going to have a go at doing it. I've never done a flight test, like a manufacturer's flight test book before. So based on my experience at a flight test, particularly the aircraft that I've worked on, there is a laid down procedure. You work from A to B and you go all the way through it, and that happens at least once a year. Full flight test, but your manufacturer's one as well. I'm just going to turn this to daytime. If I can, let's get up here, and we'll go. We'll bring this back to the daytime. There we are. Cool. Okay, so this is the aircraft itself. So we have loaded ourselves up at an airport in Italy called Linate, and from what I understand, this is the closest airfield to where this aircraft was made. They did then produce them in Richmond, Virginia, as well. However, the first flight of this aircraft was in Italy, so I think it's only right that we take it back to Italy and we have a go. So let's, with the review, we've spoke about the developer and the aircraft. So Echo Simulations, I've not flown an aircraft from them before. I've not seen any from them before, so this is a completely brand new slate for them. The price, as we've said, is around £18, and you get one aircraft with the six liveries. Manual and documentation. So the first thing I always do is have a look at the checklists, and this does have one. We will work out very soon whether it's accurate or not. Again, because I've got the real world handbook, we'll use that because then we can identify if there's anything actually that isn't in the aircraft or that hasn't been modelled, which would be in the real one. So it gives us that that flexibility here. It's nice to see that has come with a checklist though. Support and update history. Again, I'm not sure what support there is available for this. I didn't see an email address in the description on Marketplace. However, I'm sure that if you emailed them, they would email you back. So the first thing we'll do then, as we do all the time, is an exterior walk around, and we'll have a look. I can already see here there's quite a lot of hot points to look into, so we'll have a look at those as well. We'll take the blanks off straight away. So we'll take the PO cover off. We'll take the canopy cover off. The engine intakes off. I hope the brakes are on because we'll take the chocks out now. And looking at that, I think that is all of the blanks. I don't think there's a static port. No, static's probably being used with the PO static as well. Okay, so we'll do the normal stuff where we walk around from the front of the aircraft and we will go round and to the back. Now, I like getting inside the aircraft, have a look at the engine. I like having a look at the detail on the undercarriage. You can never do it from this view, really. So we'll get inside the aircraft and we'll do that in a minute through the zoom-in functions. So I'm just going to pull up a real-world picture of this aircraft. Falco, because I've not seen one before. Falco F8L, and I'll get an image of it from online. Let's find one from where we are here. So, has this gone 8 on the back? Yes, it has. Perfect. So I've got the real world picture here of this aircraft. So let's quickly get in and have a look. And we'll zoom in. So looking at this here, it looks a spitting image, including the stripes, the text here, the black on the top, the propeller, the 8 on the back, and okay, so the tail number goes across the tail in the pictures I've got, but that doesn't really matter. But it does look a spitting image, including hopefully on this side there should be a flag underneath the stabilizer. Let's have a look. For registration, no, there's not. Never mind, don't worry about that. Very minor detail. But the aircraft itself does look very realistic. The other thing I'm noticing now is there is an item, I can't see what it is, on the engine cowling here on the real aircraft that isn't on this one. Let me go back and have a look, see if that's on another one. So definitely all the tail numbers are definitely on the tail in here. I can't see. Let's have a look. Yeah, so there, whatever it is, I don't know what it is, but there is a thing in the real world aircraft that's sat right there. I can't work out from the photos what it is. So it's not exactly modelled on the real thing, but it's close enough. Okay, we'll carry on looking around the aircraft and let's see what checks it allows us to do. So can we check the prop? No. Can we check the intakes? No. Oh, hang on. No, that's not it. Can we check nose wheel? Yes, we can. Can we check the nose strut? Yes, we can. Can we check the exhaust? No, we can't. Can we check engine oil or anything like that? No. What's this here? I'll have a look at that in a minute. Coming around, we can check this strut and this tyre. Or right brake pack, it's saying. So we can check the strut, the brake pad. Sorry, brake pack. And the wheel. So we'll do all that now as well. It's the second time I've missed that wheel. There we go. And we can come around here to the wing. Can we check the flying control surfaces? Can we check the flaps and the ailerons? Yes, we can, and it enables us to go up and down. Good, and it's got noises of it as well. Flaps, can we examine the flaps? Yes, we can. What's this one? That's just... yeah, can we check the elevator? Yes, we can. Can we check the trim tabs? No, we can't. Can we move the rudder? Yep, so it's all fully interactable in the pre-flight checks and your walk around as well. So that's all good. And we'll do the last ones of the flaps and the ailerons here and the undercarriage, which we've not done. And then we'll have a look and see the detail in the struts, engines, etc. It takes ages to do this one. Give me the green. It's not giving me the green. Never mind. Left aileron, up and down. So that's all good. Okay, so I've noticed that the canopy can open, and it does get us in. I don't want to get in just yet. What's this here? Oil cover. There we go. Can we check this? Oil gauge. So that's cool as well. That's good. So we've got oil. That's always nice. Perfect. So I don't know whether the actual thing that I said about earlier on is something to do with the oil, potentially. Okay, so we can open the canopy and we can get in. Before we look inside, let's continue with the outside view. So again, the only way to go through it really is this way. If it allows us to go through, it doesn't allow us to go through the deck. Brilliant. So let's get back out again, see if we can do it in camera mode, because I am interested to see what the undercarriage looks like. Can we get in? There we go. Undercarriage looks relatively realistic. Doesn't let me move in and zoom, does it? No. And I haven't worked out the camera mode how to get in there, but it all looks pretty good. Let's have a look at the fasteners now. It's another detail that I like to look at. Okay, let's have a look at the rivets and the fasteners. Okay, so it's got the butterfly fasteners here. Now, I'm not really a fan of these on aircraft, and the reason for it is, if you can imagine, as soon as we lift up the nose of this aircraft, that wind is going to be catching this side, the bottom side of these fasteners. That has the potential to unhook them. So basically, if you get any pressure on that top one, on that top part, it's got the ability to loosen that fastener. So I'm not a fan of these on aircraft, but you do see them. Rivets look pretty good, and the screws, no sign of corrosion. I would like to see some signs of corrosion, just again that added bit of realism, but we'll just say that this is brand new out of the factory. And the other thing I like to see that you can't really see here is the detail in the control levers in here, but the camera's not really doing that good. Anyway, let's have a look. Let's get in. So, general look at the aircraft. So we've got the compass up here. We've got a nice shine on the deck. Coming back down here, I'm not interested in the gauges and everything at the moment in terms of going through them, but we've got quite a nice bit of reality and realism here with the shading, the colouring and everything like that. We've got the lighting as well, which looks good, and the stanchions, they look very realistic. We used to use those in Seeking helicopters. I should imagine they're using a lot of planes. Let's get under here and have a look if we can. I don't know. So before I could get here we go. So again, rudder system. Let's give it a whirl. Again, all control rod related, and it's got what appears to be hydraulic lines here as well. They look pretty good. Do they move? Yeah, they move as well. So again, a nice little bit of detail. Flight Control 6, again, I like to look at these gaiters and the boots. And again, I mean, it looks like there's a zip, but there's no zip there. But again, it's just that minor detail. Upholstery. Let's have a look. Seat catch. It's obviously on its rails. I don't know if I can move that or use it. No. Upholstery. Looks quite cool. Where are the seat belts? Where are the straps? So obviously you've got the tie downs for the seats here. I can't see any seat belts. Now, there would definitely be seat belts in this in reality. I don't know whether they're down the side or whatever. I can't see any straps. I'll see if there's a checklist in a minute to get them out. But there's no seat belts. Again, the carpets are quite well detailed. It's quite dirty down there, which is a nice little bit of detail in there. I definitely can't see the straps and the tie downs for the seats, for the securing straps. So again, it's quite well detailed. I think they have definitely spent a little bit of time on it. Okay, let's have a look at the gauges that we have here. My camera's been a bit of a douche at the moment. So voltage indicator there, airspeed indicator there, vertical gyro there, altimeter there, direction indicator and heading indicators here. We've got the manifold pressure and fuel pressure gauges here. The tachometer here. The ROCD, rate of climb and descent indicator. The direction gyro there, basically a compass. We'll save that in a bit. Turn coordinator there, and side slip or slip, whatever it's called, slip indicator. And we've got, what is this? The accelerator. Okay, that's for the obviously G units. Cool. We've then got obviously the cylinder head temperatures, oil pressures, generator output in amps or current, front fuel, and our fuel tank indicators there as well. Coming along here, you got the basic normal Garmin radio stack, which we expect and we see in most of our aircraft now. And then I'm going to assume that's going to be our IFF bits. And over here we've got some more engine gauges as well, including the vacuum. So the vacuum is quite important here because the gyroscopic instruments here, for example, the gyro, the direction indicator, etc., they're all gyroscopic and need that vacuum. And then we've got panel lights here, interphone switches, and all that sort of stuff. So all in all, I'm quite liking the look of this. We'll get rid of the tablet if we can. My camera's still being a bit funny. Since the upgrade to SU6, it is definitely being a little bit funny. But in general, the aircraft looks quite cool. Just make sure my throttle's working on my controller, which it's not, which means I'm going to have to program that in. Is the side sticks working? Yeah. Forwards, back, rudder. Yeah. I'll check flaps and that in a minute, but I might have to just adjust the controls before we start. Let me just quickly, because I've already noticed the throttle. Oh, the throttle is now working. Perfect. Okay, so what we will do then is we'll go through the flight checks as per the real world checklist. So if you are after the real world checklist, I found it on a website called secair.com. And again, I'm using the real world flight test guide and the real world flight test manual, the real world flight manual. So the proper pilot operating handbook here. Now, general characteristics, two-seat aircraft, side-by-side seating for the pilot and passenger, provisions for adding a third seat in the luggage compartment that can, so you can convert it to a three-seater aircraft. The engine, this one here is the 180 horsepower Lycoming engine with fixed pitch propeller. No, it's not fixed pitch propellers. It's variable pitch propellers or constant speed, should I say. Tricycle landing gear is retractable, single electric motor which drives screw jacks. Yeah, we've seen those. Dual control sticks, rudder pedals are connected to the steerable nose gear. So we've got a steerable nose gear. Elevator trim tab provided. Effective flaps for landing and takeoff. Engine controls consist of throttle, propeller, and mixture. Control levers located in the center console. So again, I'm just checking this to make sure that it's all as per, which it is so far. Carb heat for carbureted engines. Let's have a look. Has this got carb heat? I didn't see it a minute ago when I was going through it. No, this hasn't got carb heat. Unless it's one of these. It has got no hot air, cabin heat, and alternate air. Cool, so it hasn't got carb heat. What's this here? That's our flaps, isn't it? Yeah, flaps. Okay, so that's good. Cool. So it's got alternate air for fuel injector engines, yeah, provided. Controls located below the center throttle. Landing gear switch, landing gear indicator lights, throttle and flap position switches, perfect. So it gives you a really good, the pilot operating handbook, it's huge, really good indication of what you want to expect. So it's got all of the stats here about, from as little as tire pressures all the way through to power, RPM, cruise. So our cruising RPM is 75%. It tells you all about the fuels, all about the oils and everything to go in. So instrumentation, magnetic compass, airspeed indicator, artificial horizon, altimeter, turn and bank coordinator, directional gyro, rate of climb, descent indicator. Yeah, so everything that I've just seen there is what's listed in the pilot operating handbook. Electrical equipment, it's got everything listed there, avionics, audios, controls and other equipment. Section 2 is operating limitations, so I've got all of that. So let's have a look, see how this looks then. So oil temperature gauge, the range is 100 to 245. So where did we say oil temperature was? Oil temp here, 100 to 245. So that's accurate. Oil pressure is, where's oil pressure? So minimum pressure is 25 psi. There's the 25. Caution range 25 to 60, correct. Normal operating range is 60 to 90, again, correct. With 90 to 100 and then 100 being the warning. So again, that's really well depicted on here as well. Fuel pressure is 0 to 7 psi. So again, that was up here. Fuel pressure and psi, okay. Maximum pressure, red line is 7 psi. Fuel pressure is there, so that's a little bit inaccurate. Okay, that's interesting. That is very interesting. So that's the first thing I've seen that isn't aligned. Cylinder head temperature 150 to 435. So cylinder head temperature, where do we see that? Where do we see that? Cylinder temperature, there we go. 150 to 435. That's right. 435 to 500 for the caution. Yeah, perfect. And then tachometer 500 to 2700. There we go. 500, 2700. Being the red line. Speed limitation this then, 208 knots. Have a look, see if that's depicted up here. Yes, obviously we have got that yellow region here. And again, this is straight and level flight, no wind really. But 208 is our maximum. It's not really indicated on there for VNE. Accelerometer markings, it's got the usual G's in there as well. We've seen that already. So here. This has got a rating of 4.4 to minus 2.2. So minus 2 there, 4 up here. Alternate amps, 70 amps and 60 amps. Let's have a look at what we had. There we go. So minus 60 to plus 60. Fuel gauge 3 to 21 litres. So again, that's accurate as well. No inverted header tank, if installed, increases capacity to approximately 2 US gallons. And then approved manoeuvres. This is approved for a steep turn at 126 knots, a chandelle 126, lazy 8 126, and a stall at 65 knots. You can do a spin at stall, a loop at 160 knots, and a roll at 135. In Melbourne, I've never heard of that. Perfect. Centre of gravity, it tells you how to determine centre of gravity and all that. It tells you about the placards to expect. So on the instrument panel, it should have this one, which it has. If equipped with fuel injected engine and constant speed propeller, it should have the takeoff and landing one as well. Fuel injected engine, so where is it? Looking for that. So that's not there. Where's that then? So, okay, so that's not on here. At the circuit breakers, it should have a list as well. Gear, act, gear, ind. Yep, so that's identical as well. Com1, Nav1, so that's identical as well. So again, that's really, really good. It goes through the emergency procedures. I'm going to skip all of that. And we're going to get straight into the normal operating procedures. Okay, so the ground pre-flight checks. Ignition switch, it should be off. And you should be able to, can we remove the key? No, we can't remove the key. Parking brake is set. So if we come here and put the parking brake on. I hate those little things there. So the parking brake, that's fuel selector. Where's the parking brake? There we go, parking brake's down here, look. Parking brake is on. Canopy and windshield is clean. Wing walk, left hand, check condition. Flaps left, we've done that. Ailerons left. Wingtip, pitot tube. So this is the external. We've done all that, done all that, done all that. So this is the walk around. If the engine has been active for several hours, especially in cold weather, rotate the prop by hand for 2 or 3 complete turns. During cold weather operations, make a thorough check of the airplane for freedom from frost. Okay, cockpit pre-flight. And let's compare this to what we have here. So it says, fuel oil quantity check. So oil check. Say fuel quantity. We're on expert here, yes we are. Okay, so it does say that, it does say that. Wheel chocks removed and engine covers, external covers, prop and spinner, there we go. Tyre and wheel struts, this is good. Oil quantity check. We've done all this, so again this is direct from the pilot operating handbook. This is spot on so far. Tells you to do this in the real world manual that we've got in front of us. Okay, pre-flight inspection, empennage. Vertical tail and rudder check. Yep. Horizontal stabilizer, aileron, flaps, tyres and wheels. We've done all this when we started. Perfect. Okay, before starting the engines, this is the pre-flights now. So, ignition should be off. No, it doesn't tell me yet to turn the battery on. So, I'm not going to follow this one. Let's follow the real world one. So fuel and oil quantity. We've checked the oil because that's on the top of the engine up there, and we've checked the fuel. Fuel, we are about 50%. There we go, 50%. Perfect. Okay, the load has been secured. The controls, quickly check the controls. They're not hydraulic, they're all cable. So, quick look left here. God, my camera, since this update, is rubbish. So there's that. Check the rudder. So the elevator as well. Now I can't see that going down, but it will be. There we go. Other aileron. Perfect. Cool. Okay, controls checked. Seats are adjusted. Seat belts. Now again, the one thing I've missed, so I've picked up straight away. This doesn't have seat belts. Parking brake is on. Canopy is closed and locked. Landing gear switch confirmed down. That's landing gear switch up. Fuel selector to front. Let's come down and have a look. There we go. Front. Master switch on. The green indicator light should come on. So master, where's the green indicator light? There we go, up there. For the landing gear. Alternator switch to on. Landing gear lights should be free green. That's that one. Where's the green light is talking about then? Can't see it. No, so that's not in there, but don't worry about that. Landing gear down light green. Avionics should stay off. They are. Voltmeter, check battery voltage. Where's the voltmeter too? There we are. So battery's got plenty of volts there, 18 volts. Fuel quantity gauges, checked 50%. Flight controls, checked full movement. We've just done that a moment ago. Okay, engine start procedure. for a normal start cold engine. So let's just quickly have a look here. So this is probably, let's have a look. So nav light, it doesn't tell us anything about nav lights here. Does it tell us in here? No. So this is a little bit more detailed than the real one then. So we'll come down and turn on our nav lights, and we'll get our strobes and everything on now. So nav lights will turn on, and we'll do the strobes and landing lights shortly. Okay, so engine starting procedure for injected engines, of which this is normal start. So alternate air to off. Let's just verify that. It's right under here, look. Which one is it? I can't see. Is it this one? God, these blue things just... Right. Behave. Alternate there is off. Throttle advance 2 degrees, so a little tiny bit. There we go, that'll do. Again, you can see that how that's moving there. That's the HOTUS. The HOTUS is a rubbish. Really frustrated with mine at the moment. I've only just got it as well. Okay, prop RPM full. It is full. Mixture, sorry, auxiliary fuel pump on until fuel pressure stabilizes, then off. So fuel pump to on. There we go, we've got fuel pressure now. Auxiliary fuel pump on until fuel pressure, then off. So hopefully, is that now? No, so keep that on. Mixture lean. So again, has this got lean and rich on there, does it say? So there we go. So mixture to lean. And then it says throttle advanced 1/4 of an inch. There we go. Ignition switch start, release when the engine starts. So prop clear. There we go. Oh, it sounds old, doesn't it? Advance the mixture at a moderate rate, about 1 second. Too rapid enrichment can choke the engine. So after the engine fires, we'll now take it to rich. So nice and slowly. There we are. Nice. Perfect. So that's good. Throttle after engine starts, retard to around 800 RPM. So again, we're sitting at about 1,000 at the moment. You see that on this gauge here, and I've just realised my parking brake's just turned itself off. Now, one thing you'll see is when we're flying shortly, the aircraft camera will switch out, the engine will switch off, the parking brake, as you've just seen, will turn off, and things will stop working. That's SU6 at the moment that's doing that. Just going to bring that throttle back to 800. It's very hard with a throttle that's not behaving. It's probably as close as I'm going to get to 800 there. It's about 780, 790. That's fine. Okay, we can turn the fuel pump off now. So now we've got, should be using the engine driven fuel pump. There we go. So that's stabilising to around about, yeah, it's stabilised. That's fine. Cool. Okay. Minimum oil pressure must be indicated within 13 seconds. We've got oil pressure there. You can see there. Oil pressure and temperatures there. Engine start. Yeah, engine starting procedure. Warm up and taxi. Okay, so for the warm up then, we're going to throttle to around 1,000 RPM to 1,200. So I'll bring this up. So we're going to warm the engine up. There we are. A bit high. Let's bring it down slightly. Again, it's just the HOTUS sensitivity at the moment. There we go. 1,200. The ammeter must be showing positive. So at the moment we've got no avionics either. So does it tell us to turn them on? No, so it doesn't tell us to turn them on. So we'll turn them on now. There we are. There we go. Self-test. That was a nice little addition there. Okay. Amps 0 at the moment there. Ah, here we go. That's what I'm looking for there. So good. It's in the positive. Oil pressure is green. Let's have a look. So oil pressure is in the green there. Oil temperature still on the little bit low side. Parking brake will release and then brakes checked. So we'll do that now. So parking brake released. Brakes check. Perfect. Again, we've still got stuff to do before we taxi. And then we can do the run-up test in just a second. So we'll do that in a sec. For now, let's have a look and see what we've got to do here. So enter. What's this? Landing gear horn. Keep that. Turn that on. Turn on the I-band as well. Put on standby. Mark 7000. Perfect. We'll turn on our strobes and turn a bank lights. Turn coordinator. Okay. No taxi lights. Okay, cool. Having a look over here. Everything else looks pretty dandy. Cool. Coming down, let's track the trim. Trim's neutral at the moment. Okay, so that's the before taxi checklist pretty much done. I'm going to do the run-up check and then we'll have a look at the actual flight test procedure. So let's go through it. So mixture is fully rich, prop RPM is full, throttle to 1200. I've currently got about 1100 and a bit there, a bit more up. There we go. A little bit high, but again, it's because of this is the HOTUS that's been a bit of a pain. Suction gauge, check green sector, checked. Cylinder head temperature gauge is in the green, checked. Oil pressure gauge is in the green, checked. Ammeter, indicating on the positive side, check. Fuel gauges, check. Fuel pressure gauge, check. Voltmeter should be showing 14 volts. Can't read that from here. Yeah, that's roughly 14 volts. Throttle after 5 minutes from starting. We've probably been started for at least 5 minutes now. 1700. And then a magneto check. So let's go to 1700. Probably should do this into wind, but we'll get it to 1700 again. I'm looking down here now. Get up that little bit more. There we go, 1700. Okay, we'll use the magnetos here. So magneto check. We max drop 75 to 100 RPM. We're currently at 1700. So it's a little bit below that, but not below 100. Propeller RPM, check the drop. Yep. And bring that back up. Cool. Ideal. And we'll bring that back. Okay. Perfect. So everything looks good there. I'm just going to quickly familiarise myself with all the gauges again. Good. Perfect. Okay, so going to quickly switch checklists now to the flight test checklist. And we'll do a proper flight test guide. So, let's read what this says. It tells you all about the controls, everything that they do at the factory. It tells you everything. It tells you everything to check on the aircraft. So aircraft get an airworthiness review, kind of like an MOT. So it's telling me everything I need to check on there. Okay. Test pilot, flight test philosophy, the handling characteristics of the Falco. So this aircraft has been known to have no bad habits. It's responsive and sensitive. if you're a low to medium term pilot, you have absolutely no business doing the initial tests in the Falco. Okay, cool. It's a fingertip airplane. First sign of over control in the Falco is when the pilot takes a stick in his hand. The key to flying the Falco is to rest your arm in your leg and fly the Falco. God, they're quite abrupt in this. The best technique for takeoff is to begin to feed in some back pressure on the stick on the takeoff roll. So once the takeoff roll has begun, as the elevator begins to take effect, keep increasing the back pressure until the nose starts to come up. Ideally, you'll arrive at takeoff speed just as the nose reaches the nose height attitude for takeoff, and the Falco will fly off. Try to burn this attitude and view from the cockpit into your memory. Okay. The best land technique is to maintain some power until you reach touchdown. The elevator is more effective with some extra wind from the prop. Round up from the approach and let the airplane down slowly to the runway. If you don't keep some power on, the airplane is likely to stall and drop on. Remember to use some light fingertip touch on the stick while you land. Okay, so that's interesting. So you don't go to idle, you keep the power on. Trailing link, landing gear is soft and forgiving on a bad landing. Good. Many pilots find that nose wheel steering much too sensitive. Initially, they over control the Falco. Okay. Perfect. So starting the engine, we've done that. Okay. As a precaution against engine fire, okay, that's an emergency. Ground start pre-checks, we've done all that. Cockpit engine start procedure, we've done that. So that's interesting. The flight test procedure is definitely more in depth. Start full rich, retard, done that. Everything okay, thumbs up. Prop control exercise, low PRPM, yep, done that. Alternator switch on. Doesn't tell you to turn your avionics switch on. Run the engine 5 minutes till the engine warms up, and then carry out the those tests. Fine. Special considerations. Cool. Initial taxi test. So, after everything is working well, it's time to initiate the taxi test. Prior to taxiing the aircraft under its own power, have a helper give you a slow push to test the brakes. We've just done that. Once you're sure you can stop the aircraft while being pushed around, you're ready to proceed with the power taxi test. In a large open area, steering with the nose wheel, test the brakes with light braking applications to make sure they work. Be sure to test the left, right and both brakes, then test left, right and both brakes with the parking brake valve on. Since the brake lining has not yet been conditioned, all initial braking tests should be done at low speeds. During the initial taxi test, you should become comfortable with the ground handling. During these tests, check the turn and bank airspeed indicator and fuel flow from each tank. If you have an autopilot installed, which you don't, turn it on. Okay. Brake conditioning, control authority taxi test. Okay, so this is what we'll do. Since it is possible but not desirable to get airborne during taxi tests, you should treat the taxi test as though it will be a fully fledged flight. All inspections, airworthiness certificates, registrations, weights and balance license. Okay, yeah, cool. You should do a complete pre-flight inspection before beginning taxi test. Use the Falco flight manual for pre-flights. Done that. Okay. Fill each tank approximately half full with fuel, which we've done, and check the weight and balance to make sure we've done all that. A 4,000 minimum hard surface runway should be used. We've got that. The Falco accelerates quickly but doesn't decelerate too well. Be careful not to overheat the brakes. Recommend the 6 taxi tests listed below. While these tests may sound strange to the uninitiated, these are normal tests for new aircraft designs. Cool. So we're going to carry out directional control taxi test. The first 3 taxi tests. Okay, do you know what? We're going to skip that. Let's skip that because that is really in depth, and that's not why we're here. But I am going to have a go at that off the stream, I think. Okay, so we can taxi now, and we'll get the we'll get clearance.
Request taxi for takeoff. Close traffic. Piston Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra.
There we go, taxi 35. Should be turning left.
Taxiway Tango. Contact tower on 118.4 when ready.
Okay, cool. So parking brake, there we go. Parking brake's just turned itself off again. Okay, so we'll taxi down to the runway and we'll carry out those taxi tests and brake tests as we go down. So we'll quickly check the nose wheel steering. Let's have a look. There we go, you can see it. And as they said, it is quite sensitive.
Piston X-ray Golf Sierra. Did you hear my
forgot
last
to say,
transmission?
I forgot to confirm that. Yeah.
Taxi 2 and hold short runway tree 5 using taxiway Tango. Piston X-ray Golf Sierra.
Piston. Okay, so I'll head on down here. Now, so you're supposed to do a fast taxi test and directional taxi test and check for aileron and elevator authority here. Now we are quite bouncy. Could just be the ground that we're on. Okay. So brake test of the HOTUS now. Not working. Oh, there you go. Switch back to my old button. Okay, we're going to take off from. So it does sound pretty good, doesn't it? This sounds like a tractor, apparently. It does sound like a tractor. So we'll take off from this part here, come off at this taxiway. Quite quiet in here, there's no windows is there to open. Nope, so no airflow inside except for obviously the vents. Okay, we'll slow down. Does sound pretty cool, I do like the sound of it. Okay, we'll carry out, bearing in mind I've not flown this before, so I'm going to have to, I will use the checklist that I've got. And as I said a minute ago, we'll apply, before we even take off, we'll apply some back pressure onto the, onto the stick. Okay. This is my hold short line, but it's not letting me contact tower. They must want me to go back down there. Right, they're going to have a go at me. Let's see if I get closer, whether they'll... Let's see if that comes on. So I do want to try and use the air traffic control, but if it doesn't let me, then it won't let me. There we go. So we'll park here, park and brake on, and we'll do the before takeoff checklist before we do that. So we've done the run-up checks, before takeoff checklist. Canopy is closed and locked. Where's the canopy handle in here? Ah, are those seatbelts? I don't know what they are. Or are they like luggage holders? No, because I've got no clip down there. Anyway, canopy handle, where are we? Up here. Okay, cool. Ideal. So, canopy is closed and locked. Seat belts haven't got any, so they can't be fastened. Flaps set 15.
Aerial trans 2364. Turn next taxiway.
And check the indicator's gone down, so flaps are currently, so that's showing us 10. That's shown us 20, so it's shown us 30. So, that's interesting. 10 or 30, but the pilot operating handbook is saying 15 degrees. That's very interesting. What does the flight test manual say? Let's have a look for takeoff.
2364. Turn next taxiway.
It doesn't say. It doesn't say, but oh, hang on. This no. Use takeoff flaps 15 degrees. Yeah, so that's something I've picked up straight away. Is this has got flaps 10, not flaps 15. So we'll use flaps 10, but that's definitely something that goes against the handbook and the flight test manual. What does it say here for
Exit runway when able.
for takeoff? Does it say flaps set for takeoff? But that's it. So that's interesting. Let's think our feedback. Anyway, flight controls final check. So again, left, right, up, down. There we go. Rudder, left, right, and aileron check there. Cool. Who's that behind us? We've got a multiplayer dude behind us. Hello. Okay.
Turn next taxiway.
Elevator trim is neutral. We'll verify that. I've not put any on. Yeah, so that's still neutral. Fuel selected to front tank. It is selected front tank.
Contact ground on 1 tree.
Auxiliary fuel pump is on. Want maximum fuel for takeoff. Propeller RPM is full. Mixture is rich.
1 tree, 1
Carb heat is off.
Aerial trans 2.
Annunciator warning panel green light only. Yep, so that's just for the landing gear. Parking brake we release. Throttle full open. Best rotation speed 63 knots. And we want 80 knots for the climb. So 63 knots for rotation speed. So we'll try and work for that. So it doesn't tell you about landing lights or anything like that. We'll turn those on. And we'll request takeoff now. So again, first time I've ever taken off on this. So I'm not sure how it's going to react. We'll set. It has got autopilot actually. This, so we can get up on the autopilot and we'll we can test them with it in a bit. Go to 2000. Okay, 1013. Perfect. Okay, and then the one thing we'll do is we'll set our compass in just a second. Cool. Okay, that's looking good. So park and brake off. Now in here at the moment, my rudder, I've only got, because the stick's broken, the Hotor stick is broken, I've only got full deflection on it. So you might see me wiggle a little bit from left to right. I've got the triggers on my throttle that are able to do this, but it's a little bit awkward when we take off. So we'll come back around. Okay, this thing goes 208 knots by the way. You see there it's quite nippy already. Okay, quite slow that down. Okay, let's quickly do the compass. So currently showing at around about 330, 340, 352. Let's verify that. Yeah, about 352 as well. So that's looking good. Heading 352. We'll keep that there. Make sure verify it. 352. Yep. So there or thereabouts. So they're slaved together, which is fine. Okay. So remember, rotation speed 63 knots, and as per the flight manual, we're going to have a slight backwards pressure on this stick. Okay, park and brake off. Slight back pressure. And here we go. Checking that RPM. And we're going to take off at around 2,500 RPM. We'll increase that. Bouncing, bouncing, bouncing. There we go. Takeoff power set. 30 knots. It wants to lift already. It tells you to lift it until you get nose up attitude. Get the speed. Slightly over. There we go, we're airborne. Okay, let's bring that throttle down. And get that heading back. There we are. We'll bring that throttle back down. Good. Okay, and the best climb rate is 80 knots. There we go, 80 knots. And I'm going to start turning left and get that landing gear up. I'm just going to go and dabble over here somewhere. So this is looking good so far. Oil pressures, temperatures a little bit high, so pressure's a little bit high, but it is still in the green. Everything else is looking good. Okay, let's get some speed here and we'll start trimming now. Oh, right, so that's one thing I've noticed straight away with my HOTUS. The trim's not working, so let's bring that prop speed down. There we are. So again, SU6 is messing things up a little bit, so I'll have to trim from here for a minute. There we go. Okay, give me a second. There we go. It's hard because you can see my throttle bouncing there. There we go. Okay, we'll get the flaps up. And we're happy. There we are. So it's got a little bit of a tendency to go left. I think that is my controls now. And we'll continue climbing. Okay, so this is pretty good. We'll climb to 2000. So in the climb, landing gear is up, airspeed's 80 knots, flaps are up. Auxiliary fuel pump, will turn that off. I'm just going to carry on turning to the left. Engine instruments, we've been checking those as we go in. Annunciator warning lights all off. So we're good here, everything looks fine. We'll start managing the prop shortly. But we're going to go up to 2,000 feet and then we'll do some of the flight tests. We'll have a look at the stalls. We'll look at sort of spin and all that sort of stuff. So we'll go up, actually probably go a little bit higher than 2,000. Going to stay in the vicinity of the airport though. So we're currently downwind. What we'll probably do is go and do one landing. Just have a look and see what it's like at landing before we go. What I do want to do though is very quickly set my trim, because really important that we use the trim. So controls, control trim surfaces. So it should have been working. Trim nose down is R1 and down on the HOTUS. There we go. Is R1 and my god, look at that. So that's because since the update, this is what's been happening. So I can't even get it inlet. Okay. I see it's showing the twist. No, I don't want the twist. I want that. No, I don't want the twist. Come on. Let's try that. Although I've just noticed this is, see again, they need to fix it. At the moment it's shown as a HOTUS 4, so the inputs are like a HOTUS 4, but it's not, it's the HOTUS 5. Because of that, it's not seeing everything how it should. So there, I don't need the twist. I might have to, right, we'll get rid of that because that will just ruin my day. We'll ignore those and we just won't trim, which is frustrating. So here we go. 1,800 feet, we're downwind of the runway. We'll request to land. There's a bit of manual trim there. There we go.
Piston X-ray Golf Sierra. Wind calm. Clear touch and go.
There we are.
Traffic runway tree 5.
So we'll say yes to that one. And again, it says we want to land with a little bit of power.
Clear touch and go runway tree 5. Piston X-ray Golf Sierra.
Just gonna let that turn left a minute. Land approach, seatbelts, carb heat on, mixture rich, prop full, landing gear down below 108 knots, flaps down to 20 degrees, front tank, aux pump, cool. Okay, so we'll do that. Set up my controls. So we'll come down. Normal landing is at 85 knots. So we've got a big runway here, so we're going to come down to the right, descend a little bit. Fuel pump on. Full prop and mixture, it's good. Perfect. Okay. There's the runway. Just going to move to the right. We have got a multiplayer guy here. Nice to see one with us. And we're going to do a quick orbit to the right just to burn off some of this altitude. So we'll get that throttle off. Take an orbit to the right. Have a look at the landing, and then we'll go up and do some good bits. We'll do a stall, we'll do a spin if we can get it to spin. We'll do a loop as well. Okay, that's fine. Okay. First notch of flaps coming in. And landing gear coming down. Turn that landing gear horn off. There we go. Okay, here we go. So, approach is going to be 85 knots for the approach with an airspeed over the fence at 70. So we're a little bit fast at the moment, so we'll just control that in a minute. If we can. So again, it's a long runway, I'm going to use it all. Let's turn in here. I am still high. There we go. So it should be 70 foot, so 70 knots over the fence. We're at 70 knots now. And again, we're going to use power all the way down. So stable, bearing in mind that we've got clear weather on at the moment. There we go. That's looking good. I've got no trim, which is a pain. Okay, there's the marker. No trim's a pain, so every time I put a little bit of ease off a little bit. So 64. This is fine. Little bit of power. And we'll let it round out itself. There we go. A little bit tough. And they did say I've got a jet behind me. That's fine. Cool. So flaps. Let's get the flaps up. And we'll take off again. Now this is something I'm going to have to get used to on this, because that throttle, I've not even got it half open on the HOTUS. A little bit of back pressure. So how much back pressure is too much back pressure? There we go, we're airborne. Get some speed up, and gear up. Now we'll come up and climb. And what we'll do now is we'll get up, we'll test the autopilot, we'll have a look at that, and then we'll go and throw a spin in. So again, let's get that on, autopilot on, 2000, and we'll go, can't read it from here, back course mode, where's vertical speed? Vertical speed on, and we'll come up. Can't read it, let's try and read it over here. Okay, we'll set heading mode on. Heading, autopilot's on, there we go. Vertical speed. Heading, RPM's getting away from us a little bit. As we turn into our heading, we'll get the flaps up. There we go. So let's see where we are. There we go. Climbing at 100 foot per minute. Speed's good. Let's get that vertical speed sorted again.
Arrow 219er, turn next taxiway.
It's been a long time since I used one of these. Here we go. Let's go to 500 foot per minute. There we go, that's coming up. Watch that speed, currently high of the RPM. Let's bring it down a little bit. There we are. Everything else is looking good. That was me trying to move my camera. It's now descending us. Again, that's the other thing I've noticed with the update is I try and use the camera. Yeah, so all temperatures fine. It's a little bit high. Again, there's the camera. Oil temperature, oil pressure is good. So what we can do, why isn't that going to do it? Doesn't let me use that. Interesting. Okay. Cool. Right, we'll let this do that for a minute. So, first time flying it, it's a little bit bouncy, but then the taxiway is bouncy, so I think actually that's the runway. But in general, it flies really nicely. It's really responsive. The detail is good. I mean, I've been let down a little bit by my HOTUS, but the general feel of it is actually really good. The gauges, everything works how it's supposed to. Everything looks good here. We'll have a go at an ILS land in a minute, see if we can do that. See how the autopilot responds. Turn coordinator has been working. Compass has been working. So let's have another look at that, see if we can get it to work nicely if we get away from this built up area, because we are going to do a stall very shortly. So again, turn coordinator is good. There we are. Compass works. Let's come back around here. And what we'll do in a minute, we'll check the compass against the direction indicator. Okay, so I'm going to bring our altitude up to 4,000 feet here before we do our stall and spin, and then we'll throw it around a little bit, I think. So let's see what else it tells us. Whilst that's doing that, let's have a look at what else the pilot operating manual tells us. Distance required to take off and climb 50 feet at sea level 1326. It's got all the details for outside air temperatures and that, so you're looking at density altitude as well for it. Here we go, yeah, density altitude. Rate of climb to 2,000 foot. Currently we are at 22 degrees. We should be able to climb between 510 and 490 foot per minute. At the moment we're 450, so well within that limit. Stalling speed, power off, flaps up should be 59, and then with full flaps should be 83.5 for the stall. Sorry, no, full flaps up, angle of bank 0 degrees is 60 knots, 20 degrees is 61, so we can try that as well. We'll do that in a minute. We'll have a little go at that once we're high enough. We'll actually test out some of the operating limits of it as well. Just turn it down, it's quite loud in my living room. I'm watching that speed. That speed's dropping quite a bit, so put a bit more power in there. There we are. There we go. Good. So we'll put some power in, and I'll decrease the prop speed. There we are. That's fine. We are in a climb. We've only got another 1,100 feet to go. Yeah, that should hopefully. It's noticed my speed increase. There you go. It's catching up slowly. Cool. Right. While that's doing that, right. Let's try and find an area which is not very built up. We're going for a sit away, so difficult to find an area before we go and start doing some acrobatics. We'll go head over to the left a little bit. We'll head over here in these fields. So again, I quite like the autopilot on this. The autopilot's smooth. We'll test it in a minute in nav mode, and then we'll test it with an ILS. I'll just make sure that Lilante, where we've just taken off from, has an ILS, and we'll try it. We'll see how it gets on. So our airfield that we've just come from is here. No, it's... God, what airfield was it? It was here, wasn't it? Oh God, what is going on? No, it went Bresco. Oh, it's Lilante, where's that? I'm lost. Lilante, here we go. So, add the flight plan as the arrival. So we'll do that. More info, we'll just make sure it's got an ILS. Runway, we'll land on 35. Has got an ILS, so we'll land on that in just a moment. Wait until we get up to 4,000. Right, we have. So let's have a bit of fun. So this apparently can cruise at 208 knots. Once we level off now, let's have a look. See how we can get up there. We'll just speed it up. There we go. Speed's increasing. And then we'll carry out hassle checks. So height, airframe, strap, security, engine, location, lookout. Before we do some of this stuff. Right, we're going to take the autopilot off and we're going to fly it like we stole it. So I'm just going to be a bit rogue. Let's get that up. There we go. Autopilot off. There we go. Cool. So no tone. Right, let's have a go at this. So let's put it for its paces. Let's get some speed up. Ignore the RPM for a minute. And let's have a go, see what it's like to maneuver. Okay, we just pulled 3 Gs there. Let's reset it. Let's have another look. So, come up through here. There we go. 3G, 2-bit, 2G. Okay, it's alright. Let's reset it again. Let's have a look now. 2.5G. Okay, cool. Ideal. So this will go, I think it said, up to 3G, I think it said. We'll have to have a look. Cool. Okay, so let's have a look at the stall. So, done our hassle checks. Where are we? Yeah, cool. Okay. Everything looks good there. Let's bring the power back. So this, the stall speed for this, I think we said was 60 knots. So we'll bring it back, bring that nose up. 72. Starting to lose a wing there. 58, still not stalled. Still not stalled. There it is, and there's into a slight spin. So counteract that. Regain speed and normal flight attitude. There we go. So, what did it say? Did it say that the spin? I'm just trying to get the spin. Sorry, the stall speed here. Just give me a second. So stall speed. Flaps up to 59 knots. Let's try it. There we go. Gets into a spin. Counter that spin. Airspeed. Normal flying attitude. There we go. Bring that prop speed down. Let's put it up. Cool. Ideal. Now, what else does it say here? Bank and landing climb. Sorry, bulk landing climb. I should really be watching what I'm doing here. So, flaps 20 degrees stall. Let's try that. So let's get those flaps in. Again, it's not got flaps 20, it's got flaps 30. And again, this is something that I'm going to ask the developers about. I'll email them and say, look, the pilot operating handbook, there's a discrepancy between your flaps and what's in here. So this is saying that I can stall angle of bank 20 degrees at 61 knots. So let's go 20 degrees, which we've got there. Should stall 61 knots. Now you can kind of feel it getting away from me. We're now at 30 degree angle of bank. Let's see what it does before it stalls. No stall yet. No stall yet. Still no stall. Still no stall. Let's pull back on the stick as a bank. 54, still no stall. Still no stall. Doesn't want to stall. Let's pull that nose back. So there we go, and we're into a little spin. So counter the spin, airspeed, normal flying attitude. Cool. Right. Let's get the flaps up. And let's do a loop, see if we can do it. Now I can't remember what speed it told me to do it. I'll just go, I think it's 120 for this. Where is it? I can't find it. We'll make it up. So let's go. Get some speed. Get some speed. Okay, nose down. Speed. Okay, loop. There we go. So that's nice and stable. Engine down. And let's come down. So that's quite stable. Get that speed, pull that up, and then we'll do a little wing over. Nice. Okay, cool. So that's better. What did I do it in the other day? I can't remember, but that definitely handled that a lot better than the last plane that we looked at. Okay, so whilst we're here, let's get the autopilot back on. Can't trim again, remember, because it's not set up. And we'll go and land it, I think, and then we'll discuss. That's why I'm pressing the wrong thing. So there we go. We'll stay at 2,000. We'll go down to 2,000. Sorry. And we'll go nav mode. Let's have a look, see how it gets us. Then we'll program the ILS. Nav mode. It's not wanting it. Altitude. There you go. Nav. Okay, heading. There we are. So that'll take us back. Let's go towards the airfield. Then we'll tune in the ILS. So we're coming here. We want to tune to around, let's say 110 degrees on the heading. Well, this will do, to be fair. Clock it here. We'll go there. We'll check to see if the ILS works on it. And just for now, what we'll do, we'll release this. We'll bring the prop back. There we are. Fuel pump off for a moment.
Piston X-ray Golf Sierra. Wind calm.
Okay.
Clear touch and go. Left traffic runway tree 5.
So we're currently left base. We should be. Airport's over there, look. So let's get the ILS tuned in. So Limmel, approach, ILS 35.
Piston X-ray Golf Sierra. Did you copy?
So need to be at 3,000 feet. So we're a little bit low. Let's go 3,000 there. So copy him a minute. We're going to be going away from the airport a little bit.
Cleared for touch and go runway tree 5.
Okay, let's get the information. So we are at 109.55. So 109.55. We've got a little bit of weather affect us at the moment. I can feel it. Probably should have turned this on as well. 109.55, and our course is 353. And we're 353 here as well. Okay. One. So we can hear it, hopefully. We'll soon see. So at the moment it's not showing me anything. Let's check our frequency again. 109.55, 109.55. Let's guys, it's been a long time since I've used this. How do I switch that? I can't remember. Ah, here we go. Now, it's been ages since I've used all this. How do I switch to go down there? Not that. Is it this one? No. No. How do I switch? No, I can't remember how to switch and go on to this. So that's going to ruin my day. No, it's not that one. Where's the button to switch that? I always thought you push. Ah, there we go, you push it. 109.55. And switch. There we go, we've got it. That's better, that's what I was waiting for. Okay, so we are way too far to the right at the moment. Let's have a look where we are. Sorry, to the left. So we're almost at that point for 3,000 feet, so we'll let it go a little bit more, and we'll turn a little bit to the right and we'll start slowing down. Okay, full prop, full mixture, fuel pump on. We'll start slowing down for our landing. So our approach speed is going to be 85 knots with a landing speed over the fence at 70 knots. So we'll start slowing down a little bit. We're currently going away from the airport. Have a look. Just seen someone's commented, talk to me, what's the for? And we'll turn in now. It's actually really easy. So the only thing then is I've not flown with this navigation system for a while, so it's a bit like, ugh, but it's actually really easy. The handbook is really good. So if you are thinking of getting it, there is a handbook on secair.com, the actual released handbook from the original designers of the airframe. It's not that bad. It's really easy to fly. It gets off the ground quite nice. The only thing I've noticed so far, I don't know, this is PlayStation 5, so yeah, not a PC. The only issues we're facing at the moment is with the latest sim update. It's ruined a few things. So, for example, my well, I've got another multiplayer dude there. My HOTAS controller is a little bit rubbish at the moment. Okay, let's have a look where we are. There's the airport over there. You can just about see it, so I can turn into it now. 45-degree angle. Let's give the autopilot a good chance to get onto it. There we go. We'll start slowing down for that 85 knots. I was thinking of buying the Concorde 43. Yeah, so I've not looked at the Concorde yet. I've got quite, if you have a look on the channel, I've done quite a few reviews for other aircraft. I've not looked at the Concorde. Right, select the nav. There we go. So hopefully now you can see that we're above the localizer and we're still too far to the right. Now hopefully I've selected nav now, so as this line comes in, as we start heading towards the localizer, which is, it's pretty easy to show you on the map. Well, there's the runway there. We're still quite far to the left. It will turn us itself, we hope. We're currently at 2,800 feet. No, sorry, 2,750 feet. Matter of fact, yeah, 2,750. So, but this here, yeah. So we've just a moment ago we've done a manual landing, and now we're just testing the autopilot to see what the autopilot's like. I've never had a problem with the autopilots on any of these that I've done. They've always worked pretty well. We're just testing it and see what it's like. Now it takes a little bit of getting used to with the dials, with the system. Like I completely forgot how to transfer over to the nav, but they are easy to fly. I think the issue with the simulators is that, and I'll always correct myself when I call it a game. So I'm saying, yeah, the game's doing this, game's doing that, and I always correct myself because I think that a lot of people go into simulators thinking they're games, and then people get a bit of rude awakening when they're like, why can't I land a Cessna, or why can't I take off in the Cessna, or why can't I start this Boeing 737? People don't understand that these sims have been designed for, for real world pilots to try. Does the fixed wing have TCAS? So this one I don't think has it. I haven't heard it, I haven't seen it. Oh, hang on. See that, or I haven't turned it on. There we go. Yeah, so most fixed wings do have it, and you have got to have some sort of like FLARM or TCAS system. So now here we go. You can hear a slight tone. I'm expecting to be, there we go, along it. We'll start seeing that line come in. There we go. So as that line comes in now, I don't know if you've seen this before, the aircraft is now about to fly itself onto that line. So you'll see now it's turned manually because I had nav mode set. It's flying towards it. So let's see how it handles this. Now it has just slowed itself down itself. So we'll control that. And then what you're going to see here, that other line that comes down, as soon as so at the moment I'm established on the localizer, but I want the glide slope all the way down. I want that crosshair there in that circle. So I'm going to start bringing in my first notch of flaps and bringing the gear down. There we go. And we're now there, so I'm going to press the approach mode, which is this one here. Yep, so fully retractable landing gear. And I'm going to put the fuel pump on. I think I've still got it on. Yeah, good. So hopefully you'll see now that we've got nav mode, omni mode. Cool. So hopefully you'll see it start going down. No, it's not going to go down. So we'll do that ourselves. Now, has it got an approach button? Before I actually do this, I need to see if it's got an approach button. Okay. Barrow set. Vertical speed on to approach. There we go. I think I'm probably a little bit too high for it to intercept now. Right, I'll help it. Let's get down. I'll give it a little bit of a hand. There we go. Now I'm going to bring that back slightly. I need to get down a little bit further for it. So max altitude for VFR. So you go as high as you want. So VFR flying in a glider, I've got to 10,000 in a glider before, so it all depends on where you are. Obviously, depending on where you are, let me just put some speed in while the autopilot catches up. Right, so that's not really enjoying it. So let's take the autopilot off. We'll land without it for a minute. We'll try it again in a minute. Although once we're stable before we get it. So it's a little bit unstable here, but my trim's also not working on my HOTUS, which is a pain. And I also think that this wants to take us quite shallow. At the moment we're way above the glide slope, so let's get down and let's see where we should be. I think that's too low. It's something I've noticed over the last few flights I've done. Now you can hear that tone, that's the nav1. I'm going to turn that off. Okay, that's better. So we'll fly it ourselves. Yeah, so I've noticed that quite a bit on the PAPI lights as well, they're quite shallow. But if we have a look here, that's not the picture that I want at the moment. So let's have a look with this glide slope. Let's have a look. Because that doesn't look like it's 3 degrees. I mean, it could well be. Angle of attack at the moment is 5 degrees. Okay, speed's good. Undercarriage is down. Flaps coming in. Prop RPM is 100. Mixture's at 100. Sorry, at rich. So we're good there. Seatbelts, fuel selector valves forward. Yeah, cool, we're good to go. So let's straighten ourselves back up again. Now I'm going to quickly try arm approach to see if it does it for us. So there you go. Let's see if it will take us down. Let's speed in. More flaps. Let's see if it will take us down. We're above it at the moment. It's bringing us in, which is nice. Let's see if it will take us down. No, it's going too low. I'll turn that off. So we'll just fly it manually. So again, over the field I want 70 knots. And I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll just lift myself up a little bit. There we go. So again, that glide slope, I mean it's above us. Let's have a look where we are. Above us. Let's get onto the glide slope, see if that picture looks better. There you go, that picture looks a little bit better for me. And again, so now I'm just going to keep that runway in my dash. A little bit slow. Don't want to be slow. There we are. That looks fine. Bit bumpy. Okay, 70 knots over the field. We're currently at about 75, I think. So at the moment, this is the picture that I want, but the PAPI lights are all showing white, which means I'm high. But this is where I want. Let's see, London City. Who was it I was talking to about that? I think I showed someone, a friend of mine, that that approach yesterday. I was quite impressed with it. There we go. Right, so second time landing it. Let's have a look, see how we get on. Okay, so we are entering the field boundary. Now at the field boundary we want to be at 70 knots. So we're a little bit below that by only a knot, which is fine. And the handbook for this says you want to land with power on. So a small amount of power on as we land. So I've got the touchdown markers now. I'm not aiming for the keys, I'm aiming for the touchdown markers. A little bit fast. Full flaps in now, yep they are. Perfect. Touchdown markers, nice central line. Okay, slight bit of power on. Roll out into that ground effect. There we go. Looking up the runway, looking up the runway, looking up the runway. Power come off slowly. Looking up the runway. There we go. Nice. We'll stop there. And if we brake hard enough, we should be able to get off here. Can we get off here? Nope, missed that one. We'll go down towards the end. So, yeah, it's a nice plane. It is a nice plane. I've rented this one, but what I usually do is if I rent them and I like them, I buy them. The one that I haven't bought, I think the only plane that I haven't bought that I rented was the Echo Simulations V22 Osprey. Didn't like it. So, yeah, it was a bit rubbish. And yeah, they ended up having a little bit of an argument with me on my feed, telling me how it weren't quite ready. So I was like, why bring it into production? For demand. Cool. Alright. So basically for money. But that's all been resolved. It's all been sorted. So we'll talk about this aircraft in a minute as I end the review, and I'll go through the usual review list that we've got. So we'll turn off the land lights for now. Can't really make it out at the moment. There we go. The VTOL, yeah. I didn't enjoy that. The second one was a bit better. But again, my issue with that was, and I admitted it on the second one, was I didn't read the handbook. I didn't know there was one. When I read it, it was a little bit more. It was a little bit easier to understand. But you know, there was still a lot of issues with it, so I weren't a fan. Which is a shame because I've been on board ships before with Osprey working. I've worked with Osprey, as in. How can I put it? When I've been out around the world, I've worked with Osprey. You know, I know how they sound and how they look. They look brilliant. And I was just disappointed. Miltech, yes, and Miltech made the Osprey. So, right, we'll just park randomly here. That'll do. And brakes on. Okay, so let's evaluate. Let's get the engine off first, shall we? So, carb heat off. Auxiliary fuel pump is off now. It'll be off. Flaps are up. Parking brake is on. Avionics turn off. Tachometer 1000 RPM, or a little bit below that. Mixture to lean. And we'll cut. Ignition to off. Perfect. And we'll bring that down as well. Perfect. So let's talk about it. We'll turn the battery and alternator off as well. Alternator and battery. So we are now cold enough. I wonder if we can put the covers back on. No, we can't. So what do I think? I think that exterior is really good. I think the flight model is really good. I think the realism, everything here looks like it does on the real picture I've seen. I mean, you can see there's a little bit. I don't know whether that's. Let me just have a quick look at the feed a minute, see if you're getting the same picture as I'm seeing here. Yeah, so this element of it here is a little bit blurry, which I wouldn't expect that blur there. Oh, hang on, let me just unplug my HOTAS because my controller's just run out of battery. Unplug that in there. Plug my controller in. It did warn me a minute ago that it was running out of battery. Just quickly put that back on and then I can finish off what I was talking about. Yeah, so that's quite blurry. But if you come over here, is this blurry? No, that's quite clear. So again, it's just those little bit of details that I'd like to see improved, because that's not fantastic. That I like the fact there's a little bit of wear on the prop. But yeah, so the aircraft itself generally is really, really well made. Good details. Got an EasyJet there, and the interior is really good as well. Going back to my review sheet, let me get it so I just make sure I've covered everything. Okay, let's go through the areas, and then ultimately at the end I'm going to turn around and say if I'd buy it or if I don't. So we've had a look at the pricing package. It's packaged up at I think we said it was 17 quid, 16, 17 quid. Exterior all ground, we're happy with that. Cockpit and click test, everything works in the cockpit as well, which is really good. The manual and checklist test, so again we used the real world checklist, but we've already said that the EFB checklist is just as good as well, and it has everything that we need in it. And again, something that really bugs me with the Miltech Osprey is that they didn't utilise the checklist. And ultimately, the first place I'm going to look when I'm trying to start an aircraft, I mean, most cases for me, I look at the real world checklists. But if I can't get one, on some aircraft you can't get them, this is the next best thing, and the Osprey didn't do it. So it's good that they've made sure that everything they need to put in is on there. Cold and dark test, we've done that, and all the gauges worked as expected. Sound test, it's got its own custom sounds as well, which is again really, really good. Let me step away so we can actually enjoy what it looks like. There we are. Taxi and ground test. So I was going to do the real world out of production taxi test. However, there's 6 of them, and it would have taken me about an hour. So we didn't do that. The flight test, we're happy with the acceleration, takeoff speeds, rotation, how the trim behaved. We've established the autopilot works, which is good, although it was a little bit messy towards the end, as I was trying to chase that glide slope with it. The airborne check, pitch, roll, yaw, all fine. We've done the stalls. The stalls did stall at the speeds, well, actually just below the speeds as documented in the handbook, which is fine. Stalled in the bank, which is fine. Got it into a spin again, which is good. We didn't simulate any failures. We could have, I didn't. And then we carried out 2 approaches and landing. And again, we had both of those were without effect. We haven't tested it for VR, but looking at this, bearing in mind that SU6 has got issues at the moment, and the issues that I'm facing are mainly controller based, it actually ran really smoothly, which is really good. So generally, I think it's a great little aircraft. I think it's really well made from a designer that I've not heard of before. I've never heard of Echo Simulations. Bearing in mind that I'm only using Flight Simulator now for the first time on PS5. I haven't been on PC for years, and the last one I did go on was FSX, so I've never heard of them before. But I actually think that compared to some of the bigger well-known names, actually have done a really, really good job. So I'm really satisfied with it. So I'd have to have a look at the scores and what I'd give it, but I think this is going to be a solid 8 out of 10, I think. So on the marketplace, I'll give it 4 out of 5. I mean, to be honest with you, it's really good. It's just the really small details. Like, for example, I haven't seen a picture where the tail number is here. All the pictures I've seen, the tail number's here. The flaps, again, the reason why I'm not giving it the full score, the flaps are not the settings in the pilot operating handbook. And again, I'll email Echo Simulations and say, look, what's the deal with this? Can you talk to me about it? Because it might just be a different variant of this aircraft. I don't know. But yeah, this gets a solid Falco F8 out of 10 for me. It's a really, really nice plane. Again, I'd like to see some more little things we can do with it. So, for example, lift up the panels and stuff. But for 16 quid or whatever it is, it's worth it. So that is the end of the review. I'm just going to stay because I have noticed that there's been a couple more comments in the video, so I'll stay and answer them, and I'll answer any more questions. I've seen there's quite a few people on at the moment. So, what rank are you, if you don't mind me asking? So I'm a chief petty officer. The M60 165 knots autopilot, low altitude, is a dream to fly. The MH60 is by far my favourite helicopter on this game, on this sim. Is it just me or is landing Cessna station longitude very difficult? Massive sink rate on final. Yeah, again, so if you've got a sink rate, I mean, the sink rate with that depends on obviously the speed you're coming in and the atmospherics as well. I haven't flown at longitude in ages. I think the last time I even had a go in that was on career mode, and I've not flown in that for quite a while just because of the issues with the update. I don't think I've struggled with it personally, but again, the whole part of that is obviously managing your speed on the way down, and if it's a little bit windy and turbulent, whatever, you're going to add more speed anyway. Cool, right, what is that time? The time is 10 o'clock, which means that we are out of time. So again, thank you very much for viewing the stream. If you haven't already, please do comment, even though I'm coming offline. If you do comment in the video, I will reply back. And if you haven't already and you want to see a few more of these honest reviews, please do subscribe. I do stream maybe almost every day. Fly the MH60. Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's go and have one go, shall we? We can go and have a go at the MH60. I'll give you 15 minutes. There we go. How about that? What I'll do though is, because this is going to be the review video, I will cut this stream here. I'll end it. If you want to see the MH60 flight, just give me a minute. Click back on the channel and you'll see that I go live again in just a second. But I don't want to bring the MH60 flight into this review. So for now, if you're not watching the MH60 flight, thank you very much. If you are watching the MH60 flight, I'll see you in a second.